If you're having a summertime wedding, you're probably envisioning gorgeous blue sky day. It's something out of a movie. You know, the music swells, the hills are alive with the sound of music. But what you're not envisioning is the humidity here in Kansas City. Overheated Aunt Ethel and Joe's not coming out of the car for the air conditioning. Well, don't worry, we got you covered. Wedding guru and author of Wonder-Filled Weddings, Micheal Nolte, is here to give us some tips on dealing with the heat. Yeah. I can only imagine. I remember getting married several years ago, wearing the tuxedo inside of an air-conditioned sanctuary. Yep. I was hot. Sure. I can't imagine doing it outside. So what are some tips that we need to do to keep these cool couples cool? Or let's start out with the wedding, I guess, this is the one that you just did?
Yeah, I just did this wedding. Beautiful wedding, June the 21st. The bride's name was Hampton Condor, and the groom was Daniel Hester. Just such a cool couple.
Yeah.
I'm using that word in quotes. For instance, at their save the date, he proposed to her in the wintertime. And on the save the date, we did a photograph that said, engaged in the snow and married in the sunshine.
Oh.
What we didn't understand was how hot would that sunshine be in Kansas on June the 21st?
I bet. You can get a variety of temperatures and weather forecasts for that day. And speaking of an outdoor marriage, you've got to have a plan B because, again, in June, you never know what the weather's going to be like. Is it going to be sunny? Is it going to be overcast? Is it going to rain? Is it going to storm?
Well, and of course, you know, we've had the wettest spring ever in the history of Kansas City, and it rained 5 consecutive days. And there was no tent. It was outdoors on the terrace at Holbrook Country Club. We built a temporary stage and beautiful columns. And the rain plan would be that we would cram all the people inside into one of the dining rooms and have a very short ceremony.
Yeah.
But as you could see, we had a break in the rain that day. It rained that morning. It rained later that night. And this was the stage in which the couple was married on. It was pretty wonderful for them.
Now typically I know you do a lot of gold and flashy stuff at your weddings, but that seemed a little bit more toned down color palette for you. Is that right?
And it was unusual. The bride mentioned to me that her favorite color was gray.
Really?
Well, and I said to Hampton, I said, well, you don't use the word gray in the wedding world. The gray would be referenced as platinum or silver or soft charcoal. But those colors are, grays and silvers are cool colors as opposed to golds. And so to make this all look visually cooler as the guests would walk in, we put no color in the flowers. As you can see, all the decor, all the flowers were white, all the containers were silver, the chairs were even silver, the linens were silver and white. And so visually, this had a very cool effect to it when the guests walked in. We kept the guests inside until just the very last minute, and then popped them outside on the terrace for the ceremony.
Yeah.
And then they came back in for the reception.
And if we can go back to the picture of those columns and the stage that you guys had made for the wedding, it seems like those columns were fantastic. Were they there already, or especially made for this?
No, those are ones that I have, and I changed the colors on them. I've used them in gold, in white, in black, and my props guy,
there they are.
Collins Landers, he has a auto body car paint that he sprays them on.
Oh, really?
And so this time I said I need the columns to all be in silver, and then Fiddly Fig did the flowers, and we popped these huge arrangements on the top of each one of those pillars so you could really see them visually.
How hard was it to get those flowers to stay on top of the columns?
They were anchored very securely because we never knew when a microburst was going to come through and knock those off.
Well, especially with those 5 days of rain beforehand, like you were talking about.
Right. I had about 4 hours sleep the night before, always running through the plan B of what are we going to do? Do we take the columns in? Do we tear down the stage? Do we put any of that inside? Do we not? And the bride and groom were so incredibly just wanting to get married that they didn't care about those details. I think if we had said, let's have the wedding in the basement of a recycling shop, she would have said, okay, fine. And they were just one of the most authentic families I've ever worked with.
Yeah, it sounds like you really enjoyed working with them.
I did. This was the only bride in their family, and I remember that the very first time that Mr. and Mrs. Condor came for a visit with their daughter, that at the conclusion of our visit, he asked if he could pray over me. And I've never had anyone do that in all these years. And I'll never forget that feeling. And we were just instantly bonded, and there they are. Mrs. Condor had that gorgeous floral gold gown on, and that's their son. And I think it's going to be friends we'll have for a lifetime. The bride was wearing a gown from one of our new designers, Jemmy Malouf.
Yeah.
And all of that was picture perfect, but to realize it just hours before it was not makes me appreciate these pictures 10 times as much.
Yeah, it kind of just seems like it was meant to be. The weather opened up and gave you just that right time to window to make it happen.
I'd like to say Mother Nature, but in this time, God. gods smiled on this couple. Absolutely, they did, Bill.
All right, well,
Yeah.
fantastic. Well, real quick, I just had a quick question about it. I know you always do the dress changes and everything.
Oh,
She
sure.
She had a very long train on that dress. Was
She
there any surprises that you guys revealed through the night with them?
Just different ways that the train was bustled, and they had a choreographed dance. So whenever she
fun.
danced and twirled out, the back of that train just opened up like a lace fan. So there was lots of cheers when they were dancing on the dance floor. That's
All
for
right.
sure.
Well, Micheal Nolte, we do appreciate your time as always, sir. And I like those white pants. It's before
Last time
Labor Day, right?
I can only wear them up until Labor Day, and that's it. So I thought I'd squeeze them in today.
All right. Well, Bed Bath & Beyond. It's changing the way